I want to read more from this book, Why We Sleep, Unlocking the Power of Sleep and Dreams by Dr. Matthew Walker. Do you think you got enough sleep this past week? Can you recall the last time you woke up without an alarm clock, feeling refreshed, not needing caffeine? If the answer to either of these questions is no, you are not alone. More than a third of adults in many developed nations fail to obtain the recommended 7 to 9 hours of nightly sleep. I doubt you are surprised by this fact, but you may be surprised by the consequences. Routinely, sleeping less than 6 hours a night weakens your immune system, substantially increasing your risk of certain forms of cancer. Insufficient sleep appears to be a key lifestyle factor linked to your risk of developing Alzheimer's disease. Inadequate sleep, even moderate reductions for just 1 week, disrupts blood sugar levels so profoundly that you would be classified as pre-diabetic. Short sleeping increases the likelihood of your coronary arteries becoming blocked and brittle, setting you on a path towards cardiovascular disease, stroke, and congestive heart failure. Fitting Charlotte Brunt's prophetic wisdom that a ruffled mind makes a restless pillow. Sleep disruption further contributes to all major psychiatric conditions, including depression, anxiety, and suicide. Perhaps suicidality. Perhaps you have also noticed a desire to eat more when you're tired. This is no coincidence. Too little sleep swells concentrations of a hormone that makes you feel hungry while suppressing a companion hormone that otherwise signals food satisfaction. Despite being full, you still want to eat more. It's a proven recipe for weight gain in sleep-deficient adults and children alike. Worse, should you attempt to diet but don't get enough sleep while doing so, it is futile, since most of the weight you lose will come from lean body mass, not fat. Add the above health consequences up, and a proven link becomes easier to accept. Relative to the recommended 7 to 9 hours, the shorter you sleep, the shorter your lifespan. The old maxim, "I'll sleep when I'm dead," is therefore unfortunate. Adopt this mindset, and it is possible that you will be dead sooner, and the quality of that shorter life will be worse. The elastic band of sleep deprivation can stretch only so far before it snaps. Sadly, human beings are in fact the only species that will deliberately deprive themselves of sleep without legitimate gain. Numerous components of wellness and countless seams of societal fabric are being eroded by our costly state of sleep neglect. Human and financial alike, so much so that the Centers for Disease Control declared insufficient sleep as a public health epidemic. It may not be a coincidence that countries where sleep time has declined most dramatically over the past century, such as the US, the UK, Japan, and South Korea, and several in Western Europe, are also those suffering the greatest increase in rates of the aforementioned physical diseases and mental disorders. Scientists, such as myself, the author, Dr. Matthew Walker, have even started lobbying doctors to start prescribing sleep. As medical advice goes, it's perhaps the most painless and enjoyable to follow. Do not, however, mistake this as a plea to doctors to start prescribing more sleeping pills. Quite the opposite, in fact, considering the evidence surrounding the deleterious health consequences of these drugs. But we can go so far as to say, can we go as far to say that a lack of sleep can kill you outright? Quite possibly, on at least 2 counts. First, there is a very rare genetic disorder that starts with a progressive insomnia, emerging in midlife. Several months into the disease course, the patient stops sleeping altogether. By this stage, they have started to lose many basic brain and body functions. Few drugs that we currently have will help the patient sleep. After 12 to 18 months of no sleep, the patient will die. Second is the deadly circumstance of getting behind the wheel of a motor vehicle without having had sufficient sleep. Drowsy driving is the cause of hundreds of thousands of traffic accidents and fatalities each year. And here, it is not only the life of the sleep-deprived individuals that is at risk, but the lives of those around them. Tragically, 1 person dies in a traffic accident every hour in the United States due to a fatigue-related error. Society's apathy towards sleep has, in part, been caused by this historic failure of science to explain why we need it. Sleep remained one of the last great biological mysteries. All of the mighty problem-solving methods in science, genetics, molecular biology, and high-powered digital technology have been unable to unlock the stubborn vault of sleep. Minds of the most stringent kind, including Nobel Prize winner Francis Crick, who deduced the twisted ladder structure of DNA, famed Roman educator and rhetorician Quintilian, and even Sigmund Freud had all tried their hand at deciphering sleep's enigmatic code, all in vain. To better frame this state of prior scientific ignorance, imagine the birth of your first child. At the hospital, the doctor enters the room and says, "Congratulations, it's a healthy baby boy. We've completed all of the preliminary tests and everything looks good." She smiles reassuringly and starts walking toward the door. However, before exiting the room, she turns around and says, "There is just one thing. From this moment forth, and for the rest of your child's entire life, he will repeatedly and routinely lapse into a state of apparent coma. It might even resemble death at times, and while his body lies still, his mind will often be filled with stunning, bizarre hallucinations. This state will consume 1/3 of his life, and I have absolutely no idea why he'll do it, or what it is for. Anyway, good luck." Astonishing. But until very recently, this was a reality. Doctors and scientists could not give you a consistent or complete answer as to why we sleep. Consider that we have known the functions of the 3 other basic drives in life, to eat, to drink, and to reproduce, for many tens, if not hundreds of years now. Yet, the 4th main biological drive, common across the entire animal kingdom, the drive to sleep has continued to elude science for millennia. Addressing the question of why we sleep from an evolutionary perspective only compounds the mystery. No matter what vantage point you take, sleep would appear to be the most foolish of biological phenomena. When you are asleep, you cannot gather food, you cannot socialize, you cannot find a mate and reproduce, you cannot nurture or protect your offspring. Worse still, sleep leaves you vulnerable to predation. Sleep is surely one of the most puzzling of all human behaviors. On any one of these grounds, never mind all of them in combination, there ought to have been a strong evolutionary pressure to prevent the emergence of sleep, or anything remotely like it. As one sleep scientist has said, if sleep does not serve an absolutely vital function, then it is the biggest mistake the evolutionary process has ever made. Yet, sleep has persisted. Heroically so. Indeed, every animal species carefully studied to date sleeps. This suggests that sleep evolved with, or very soon after, life itself on the planet. Moreover, the subsequent perseverance of sleep throughout evolution means there must be tremendous benefits that far outweigh all of the obvious hazards and detriments. Ultimately, asking, why do we sleep, was the wrong question. It implied there was a single function, one holy grail of a reason that we slept, and we went in search of it. Theories range from the logical, a time for conserving energy, to the peculiar, an opportunity for eyeball oxygenation, to the psychoanalytic, a non-conscious state in which we fulfill repressed wishes. This book will reveal a very different truth. Sleep is infinitely more complex, profoundly more interesting, and strikingly health relevant. We sleep for a rich litany of functions, plural, and an abundant constellation of nighttime benefits that service both our brains and our bodies. There does not seem to be one major organ within the body or process within the brain that isn't optimally enhanced by sleep and detrimentally impaired when we don't get enough. That we receive such a bounty of health benefits each night should not be surprising. After all, we are awake for 2/3 of our lives, and we don't just achieve one useful thing during that stretch of time. We accomplish myriad undertakings that promote our own well-being and survival. Why then would we expect sleep and the 25 to 30 years on average it takes from our lives to offer one function only? I'll leave you with that question. Hope you're enjoying these readings anyway. I see On the Rise has joined us. And hi, Kanessa. Appreciate you, friend, coming through. JK47 is back. We had Tang Poco pop in here. On the Rise, loving these emotes. I know Colorful said she wanted to get some emotes here. Appreciate you all. Harmony. I like that top with the Meta Party Vibes leggings on the bottom here. It looks great. And the flower band. Really liking the flower band.